Okay, so we've all made lots of moves in our life. In my life, I've made thousands of moves, and I'll tell you that real estate investing has been one of the best moves that I could have made in my life. In this video, I'm gonna talk about, is investing in rental property a good move? Okay, so first I'm gonna talk about the first failures and mistakes and growing points that I made, actually learning from those mistakes. And by the end of this, you're gonna see how just buying three properties made me a millionaire in a very short amount of time. Okay, so it's 2007. I just get my real estate license. Guys, it took me 3 tries to get this real estate license. That test was hard, and I'm not a good student, I'm not a good test taker, and the stuff was boring. In real estate school, they don't teach you how to, buy and sell real estate. They teach you all the ethics and the morals and blah, 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 and all the laws and stuff. And when I got out of real estate school, I might as well have just said, yeah, here's that degree, here's that real estate license. It didn't do anything to teach me how to buy and sell real estate or how to invest in real estate. Ultimately, I got my real estate license not to be a realtor. I just wanted the inside track of all the deals. I wanted to be close to all the property transactions, and it actually worked for me. One of my sister agents, her name was Velva Cannon, her name is Velva Cannon, and she listed a house, and I actually put an offer on this house as soon as she listed it. Well, the sellers accepted my offer, and now it's time to come up with an earnest money deposit. So I had to go to great grandma and borrow $1,000 in 2007 and say, hey, grandma, I'm gonna ask you if I could borrow $1,000 because I need the money for my earnest money deposit. I'm gonna buy a house and then I'm gonna rent it out. Well, grandma said, hey, if you don't pay that money back, it's coming out of your inheritance. But grandma was pretty sharp. I never got that inheritance, but I did pay that money back because I got paid a real estate commission of 3% on about $123,000. So it's a little over $3,000 that I earned buying that house. I actually got paid to buy that house. Well, it was pretty fixed up, it was pretty decent, and I put a tenant in very shortly after. But here's the mistake I made. Here's the first mistake I made. So mistake number 1, I actually found a tenant, and I did not do any due diligence. I didn't do a background check. I didn't run their credit. I didn't call their employer. I didn't do anything. This lady came to me as a traveling nurse, and I just trusted it. And ultimately, it ended up in massive failure. She ended up not ever cleaning the house the entire time she was there, and several things. I had to pay her to leave because she pretty much trashed the house. The second time I actually rented it out, this time I still did not run background check or credit or anything like that. I actually rented it out at the top of the market, and it seems stupid me kind of just giving you all these mistakes as I'm saying this. Hindsight is absolutely 20/20, and I understand what that term means when I can look back and say, man, I would have done this, and this differently. But this time I rented it out at the top of the market. I rented it out for $1,100 per month. Well, market was $900 a month in this area, $900 a month. And you might be thinking, wow, you got $200 over per month. That adds up. That's quite a bit of money. That's an extra $2,400 a year, right? Well, wrong. Here's the thing. When you rent to someone at the top of the market, it's usually someone that maybe doesn't have that great a credit score, or maybe they have a felony in their background. And I misspoke in the beginning. I said I didn't run the background or the credit. This time I actually did. And I found that there was a felony in the background of one of the other tenants. And I actually was fine allowing this person to move in my house because they gave me a sad story. And I want to help people, right? And I also want to get, $1,100 a month on rent, especially when my mortgage is only $750 a month. So $850, $950, $1,050. I'm making $350 a month over the mortgage payment. That was quite a bit of money for me back in 2007. I was excited about that. But let me tell you what, this nice felon with this nice story, with this sad story that I trusted and I let move into my house, he ended up busting all the front windows out. And that was not a pretty show because I was actually in another state at this time trying to deal with these busted windows, and it just wasn't a good thing. They only lived there for about a year. They caused so much much damage. They caused over $2,400 extra in damage, that extra that I would have gotten. Let me tell you what happened on the third tenant. The third tenant, I'm starting to learn a little bit. I'm taking the advice of professional property managers. I'm talking to realtors. I'm talking to people that have owned rentals for many, many years. And I was told by a very young man actually named Colin Smith. He manages rentals. He has like so many rental properties he manages. It's over at Solid Rock Realty in Colorado Springs. Definitely, if you use him to manage your property, tell him Brent Bowers sent you. But anyhow, let's get back to it. So Colin told me, he said, Brent, you never want to rent a property out at the top of the market. You want to be just right at what the market says it's worth. Let's just say $900 a month. You either want to be right there at 900 or maybe at 850, because that's going to attract the absolute best tenants. And who are the absolute best tenants? That's the doctors, that's the attorneys, that's the people that make good money, that's the people that pay their bills, that's the people that do not have felonies and arrest records on the report, and people that have these clean records and make good money and have good credit scores and have, extra discretionary income to afford that house. They're not going to pay $1,100 a month because they got the world to choose from. They don't just have that one option. So let that sink in a little bit. The people that have the best credit scores, the best backgrounds, the most money, that are the best tenants for your house and are not going to trash it, and they're going to leave it in just as good, if not better shape than you gave it to them, are the people that can afford it. They're not going to want to pay that amount. So just know that. I mean, yes, location always helps you. But just remember that one little fact when you're renting out properties. All right, let's get to the second property I bought, and this was what we call a house hack. I didn't really know what this was called at the time, but it's 2013. I actually joined the military in 2009. I did a couple of deployments in Afghanistan and then had to leave Germany and go start school in a very short amount of time because the Army pulled me out of Afghanistan to allow me to start active duty green to gold program. It's called the active duty green to gold program. They select about 160 or 140, one of those two numbers, active duty soldiers per year, and they pay them they're actually E-grade to go to school. Well, I was selected for this. I was super stoked. I ended up having to move in to a guy's house, and I was renting a room from him for a very short amount of time because I didn't have time to go and buy a house or rent a house or anything like that. But it's now 2013, and I hate this house that I'm renting a room in. The guy never took care of his cat. He had a cat and he never changed the litter box. He never fed the cat. So I'm like taking care of this cat every morning. That guy's never home. So I kind of had the whole house to myself, but the litter box is like right outside of my door in my room and it just stinks and I don't even want to put my bare feet on the carpet. So I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to go buy a house. So I went out that day and found a house right next to the college and put an offer on it. This was a bank-owned foreclosure. So I got it at a crazy discount. I had to, paint the walls and get all new appliances and things like that. But that's easy stuff. That's stuff that I was doing on nights and weekends. And by the time I had this thing finished with paint and new appliances, I put some ads on Craigslist and found a couple young professionals to rent the rooms from me. And ultimately, I was making about $100 to $150 a month after the mortgage was paid every single month. So I'm earning equity. I'm living there for free. I'm earning $150 a month to live there just because I was smart enough to buy a house and rent out the rooms. Now, one of the roommates was amazing. Like, his name is John. I won't tell you his last name, but he mined Bitcoin in 2013, and he tried to pay me for about 1.5 years in Bitcoin, and I wish I was smart enough to take this Bitcoin because I'd probably be worth about $27 million right now just from that one tenant, one rental, one roommate that would have paid me rent in Bitcoin. But anyhow, I digress. So that's the second property. Now, this property earned equity super fast because I forced the appreciation. I rented out the rooms and I did what's called a VA, as in Victor Alpha, VA streamlined loan, and I pulled out $55,000 out of this house by doing a refinance. It also lowered my interest rate, and I took that $55,000 and bought a house just down the street with a huge pool, really close to the Intercoastal in Melbourne, Florida. Well, I bought that house, I fixed it up on nights and weekends, and I took out student loans to fix up the property. Well, these 3 properties allowed me to now buy a triplex in Colorado Springs. So I moved out to Colorado Springs from Melbourne after I was done with the college. We moved out to Colorado Springs, and I'm now looking at bigger deals. I got a commercial deal now. I'm looking at a triplex. All right, so now it's time to leave college and it's time to go out to Colorado Springs. So I'm not in Colorado Springs very long. I hit the ground running. I'm ready to buy a property. So what did I do? I took the equity out of that third property that I purchased via a home equity line of credit. I got it from Space Coast Credit Union. I got it from a credit union, and they gave me a loan up to almost 80 cents on the dollar for a home equity line of credit. So it was roughly about $85,000 that I was able to pull out at like a 2% interest rate, and I used that money to go in on an investment on a triplex. This triplex I purchased for about $191,000. It's worth about $600,000 today. So guys, real estate in a very short amount of time. I actually gave you an example of 4 properties. I told you I was only gonna give you 3 properties, but real estate in a very short amount of time. And if you calculate it, I went from 2007 to about 2015. 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 8 years, over $1 million in equity. And I'm not gonna break down every single one of those properties, but I hope you see the power in real estate, and it is now a good time to invest in real estate. Absolutely, absolutely do it. And I hope you enjoyed this channel. I hope you smash that subscribe button and like this video. And I wanna show you also another video called How to Generate Cash Flow in Real Estate.